Welcome back to Winning Isn't Easy. Can an ERISA disability carrier plan use a physician peer review doctor to deny or terminate my benefits? Well, the answer is yes. It's not uncommon for disability insurance carriers to use nurses or physicians to review claims to determine eligibility for disability benefits, determine the nature of your restrictions and limitations, the appropriateness of the treatment that you've gotten, whether your complaints of dysfunction and pain are consistent with the examination findings or diagnosis, whether you're making appropriate progress with your treatment. And I will tell you that this is particularly true when the definition of disability in your policy or plan changes from an inability to do your own occupation to an inability to do any occupation. The carrier or the plan is looking for a reason to limit their exposure to pay benefits. They don't want to pay benefits for the life of the claim. And I will tell you, even if you're on claim and you're being paid benefits, they're still looking for a way to deny or terminate benefits. I've had cases where the claimant has been on a diary being paid benefits for 10, 12 years, and all of a sudden the disability carrier says, enough, we don't want to pay benefits anymore. Let's just create a reason to deny or terminate these benefits. And one of those key players is the liar for hire physician reviewer. Now, this can be done internally or by a physician hired by a third-party vendor. The third-party vendor supplies carriers or plans with doctors who are well known to be disability denial or termination tools. Let's start out looking at the ground rules. Let's look at the rules and regulations found at 29 CFR section 2560, 503-1 through H. That requires the disability carrier or plan to consult with a healthcare professional who has appropriate training and experience involved in the medical issue at hand and to use their medical judgment. And what will happen, of course, is internally what a carrier will do is they were going to rely on their own in-house doctors or nurses to perform a review of the medical records. They have a fancy title called medical director or medical consultant. They're owned by the carrier or the plan, and they are expected to tell the disability carrier plan reasons why it should deny or terminate benefits. It's not their job to explain why benefits should continue. Now, courts do look at these types of opinions unfavorably, especially if this claimant has or policyholder has an unusual disease that this particular provider may not have any experience with. But I will tell you, using a garden variety in-house physician with no experience or expertise can be a mistake. Now, more often than not, they will use the right medical provider to evaluate the medical condition, but that provider obviously is captive and biased. These opinions that the carrier gets are called peer review opinions or paper review opinions. Most courts will criticize reliance of these types of opinions over the opinions of treating physicians, but you have to remember that there is no treating physician rule. So ultimately for the court, the question becomes, what is the expertise of the peer review doctor? What did they review? Did they make any careless mistakes in summarizing or cherry picking your medical records? Did they make any careless or careless mistakes in summarizing any forms or statements that you made? Did they stack inferences like pancakes in creating a reason to disagree with your physician? Did they explain why they rejected all or part of your doctor's opinions? Did they focus on the wrong condition? And did they note each medical condition you have individually and in combination? So those are just some of the mistakes that we find and courts can find in attacking the internal peer review report. There are also external peer reviewers. These external peer reviewers are hired by companies who have been created for the sole purpose of providing a stable of doctors to carriers or plans to create denial or termination letters or reasons. Many of these companies have been formed by former internal peer review providers. They decided that they can make even more money by setting up peer review companies that supply the carriers or the plans with a stable of peer review providers at a price. So the carrier of the plan will tell them what type of evaluation they're looking for, gives them a summary of the medical records with questions that they want answered. The reality, of course, is that these peer review providers are captives and they make a very good living by doing peer reviews or supplementing their income. For example, I know one doctor who did peer review evaluations because he wanted to send his kids to a private school and he liked to have fancy cars and take exotic vacations. That's the way he funded his lifestyle. It's a game that benefits the peer review company, the peer review provider, and of course, your disability carrier or plan. So let's take a break. And when I come back, I'm going to talk about the games that carriers will play with not so independent medical evaluators. Let's take a break.